Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is our very first episode of Proud to Be Trans. Um, it's a YouTube podcast show where I invite and interview transgender people from all walks of life, and hopefully, this show is entertaining and informative as well. If you're listening on podcasts and want to watch us on YouTube, just search my personal YouTube channel at Brianna, Brianna, Longaberger. Longaberger. And today's guest, we have the most lovely and beautiful Zelia Chavez. Am I saying that right? Is it Zelia?
It's Zelia.
Zelia. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Now this is actually
it's a weird one.
It's our very first time actually speaking with each other.
Sure.
We've been friends on Facebook. I've always been kind of like lurking in your journey through life, as far as like watching all the cool places that you go to, I guess from your job, right?
Yeah, I travel a lot for work.
So what all do you do for work?
So I work construction. I'm a carpenter. I'm a finished carpenter.
Oh, really?
It's,
okay.
Yeah, it's commercial. I've been doing it for 7 years now. About 7 years. I've been working for the same company for 7 years, and yeah, it's a lot of travel, and it's basically we install, like, when you walk into commercial buildings, we install the fancy stuff, all the cool stuff that you see. So it's like it's a cool trade to be into, because it's like we do paneling, cabinets, countertops. I was just at an airport, Salt Lake City International Airport.
I saw that. Oh my God. Everything you guys did just really made that made it look awesome. Oh my God.
Pretty fancy stuff, but that job was just that was kind of rough. That was the biggest job I had been on, and we had a lot of people working there, and it was fun, but we had a lot of hours. We worked insane hours. We were doing 10 hours Monday through Saturday, sometimes 12. We were working 8 hours on Sunday for like a year straight. We were just grinding, trying to finish that thing, but it turned out pretty good. But
that's
yeah,
awesome.
I worked all over the place, and I just it's pretty fun. It's interesting being trans in that industry.
You guys, I want to touch on that, but you guys were on that project for what, 2 years, I think?
Yeah, we were out there. We were out there for about 2.5 years. I was out there for about 2 years.
Wow.
I actually moved to Salt Lake City to work on that project, because I was originally from Denver. I lived in Denver most of my life, and that's where that's where our company's headquarters is, and so I've done a lot of work in Denver too. I've done work in Texas, Wyoming, Utah.
Oh wow.
But I really liked Utah. Like I worked a job out in Utah.
It looks beautiful.
It's a cool little place. I mean, there's parts of it that are really shitty, but Salt Lake City in general is pretty cool. Like, Salt Lake City's a nice area. It's very
well, and I always catch your videos of you longboarding and stuff like that. And
I like to skateboard.
yes, I wish I had the balance for that. My big ass would fall right off. So is it a good city to as far as like being a skateboarder and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's really, well, I mean, it's kind of hard for me, like, honestly. Like, I love longboarding, and I do a lot of skateboarding, but I live Salt Lake City's really hilly. There's a lot of Salt Lake City's basically up on like a big hill, so there's a lot of inclines. Like, the neighborhood that I live in, I live downtown. I live like downtown Salt Lake, and so I live in a neighborhood called the Avenues, and it's basically like up on like a bunch of hills. So like skateboarding to get down into town, like, it's a lot of downhill and stuff, and you pick up a lot of speed. And I'm not the best skater. I'm not like a professional or anything. I just kind of like to I like to cruise around, and I've taken a few spills before on my board, and it wasn't pretty.
So now I see that your birthday was very recently in December. Our birthdays are like very close together.
Yeah.
And we're just about 2 years apart. I'm 2 years older than you, so that's really neat.
You're older than?
Yeah, I'm
younger.
No, I just turned 36.
Oh wow, I just turned 34.
Yeah.
I thought you were like 28.
Oh, well, thank you. Scoring
You're
some,
welcome.
definitely
I did.
scoring some points.
I, I didn't pay attention to how old you were turning, so
Yep, I'm an old witch.
I'm an old witch too. Hey, at least we're pretty old witches.
Yeah, absolutely, sexy witches.
Yeah.
So I see some of the shows that you like are Lucha Underground. What can you tell me about that?
Wait, where are you seeing that?
Don't. Hey, I've got my sources. Okay, I've got my
Oh my God.
sources.
Lucha Underground. That must have been like, I that was a wrestling. That was a wrestling league like WWE. I watched it back in the day when it first came out. I used to be a big wrestling fan.
Oh,
I used to-
really?
yeah, but I don't really watch it too much anymore. It's not as good as it was back in the day, back in the '90s and during the Attitude Era was when it was awesome. But Lucha Underground was like it was like another wrestling league. But I watched it a little bit.
Well, I actually the
A lot
reason
of my wherever you're getting this information, it's probably not very up to date.
I know. Well, I'm trying to dig deep here. Okay.
It's okay.
But no, the reason I brought
Well,
that
Lucha
up is
Underground was dope. It was cool. It was awesome.
two of the people that I work with, they wrestle for. It's called Wrestling for a Cause, and I just went to one of their matches recently, and I video recorded the whole thing and edited it. It's on my YouTube channel, but
Oh,
it
nice.
was really neat to actually see those guys like slam each other around and just like fly
Oh,
off
I
the ropes and just
Yeah.
it was so cool. I'd never been to anything like that, and I was really glad they invited me. So I can't wait to go back to one of those shows.
Yeah, they're fun live. Live, they're a blast. But
So you're a gamer. You like
Yes.
Super Smash. I've seen that
Yes.
you've went to a lot of those conventions and stuff like that.
yeah,
You like Overwatch, Tekken, Borderlands 2, Naruto. Are there any other animes that you're really near and dear to your heart right now?
I love anime. Anime's like I'm a fucking weeb.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to swear on this?
Oh, hi, set us nay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I love anime. I'm a total weeb. I watch like mostly all the shows I watch are typically animes, but yeah, as far as like I mean right now I watch I watch everything. I watch romance animes, I watch slice of life, I like action, I like it all. I love it. Right now I'm watching like Fire Force and Jujutsu Kaisen and some of those
Yeah.
popular ones. I just finished Tower God. That one was good, and God of High School, but I love
I think
anime.
I've heard of Tower God. I haven't seen
Tower God was good.
Yeah, I co-hosted my friend's Twitch stream last night for New Year's, and afterwards I showed him the Glass Mask. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
I haven't seen that.
It's about a young girl who becomes an actress, and excuse me, and she is just adorable, and I love that anime. Or like Aho Girl, I think is one that's really goofy. I like Black Butler. I don't know. There's a ton
I
of
just finished
animes
one
with it.
called Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. That was really cute.
Oh.
But lately I've been watching a lot of like romances. I don't know. I like them, but I always fucking cry. I always cry. Like it's just.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
love it though, but I watch it all.
Okay, so let's get kind of into the what the topics here.
Yeah.
Why we are here for this show. Talking about transgender issues and stuff like that. So if you don't mind sharing some stuff about like at what age did you realize you were different? Like something wasn't right.
Let's see. Gosh, that's kind of hard. I mean, I didn't even start transitioning until I was 30, so it's been 30 or 31, I think. But I think when I was younger, it was I don't know. I was never. I guess I was never like really. When I was like a kid, I was never like, oh, I'm a girl. Like I never thought that I was like a girl. I wanted to be one. Like I knew it was more I wanted to be a girl. Like I knew that I was born a boy and that I was, but I wanted to I remember when we were younger when I have three brothers. I have a twin brother, a little brother, and an older brother. So it was a family of boys growing up, and so I never had like really any.
A girly influence around.
Yeah, I had nothing, and yeah, and all my friends were guys growing up, so like
Yeah.
I never had that, and that kind of it makes it hard. It's made it definitely hard for me. Like I'm definitely kind of like a tomboy, and like I hang out with mostly guys, and I still have like a lot of like interests that are considered masculine, but
which is
yeah.
perfectly fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. So and I think that is like maybe a misconception that being transgender, you have to be extremely feminine in everything you do, and
Right.
and that's just not the case. Like I don't feel like you have to give up hobbies and stuff. Like if you like to hunt, or if you like to fish, or if you
I love fishing.
yeah, if
I
you love,
love fishing.
typical male type activities or whatever, like wrestling or something like that. Just because somebody transitions, I don't think you have to give a lot of that stuff up. But
Yeah, no, most definitely not. Like I love, like, I mean, there's still all kinds of stuff that like I liked as a, when I was living as a man, like that I still like now. But yeah, as far as like figuring out, God, I don't know. I was really confused growing up. I didn't figure it out for a really long time. I do remember when we were kids, there was one particular time, I'm not sure how old I was. I think I was probably like 6 or 7, and my brothers went into I think my mom and dad, I don't know what they were doing or where they were, but we went into their closet and we were just goofing around. We were putting on their clothes. We were putting on their suits and my dad's suits and stuff, and I remember I put on like one of my mom's dresses, and I just like, yeah.
Did you love it? Did you?
I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. And then I remember like, just like I think my brothers teased me a little bit about it. Growing up with my brothers, they were like, I mean, they were like, they didn't know. So
sure, yeah, innocent. Yeah,
it's boys. Like we were all boys. We teased each other. We gave each other shit all the time.
right.
But yeah, I remember like really liking that. And then I remember shortly after that, I was like, I found myself like sneaking off, when I could, into my mom's closet and like trying on her clothes. So I was like, I grew up wearing a lot of like trying on like a lot of my mom's clothes, and that was like the only access I had to like.
I did the same. It was with my sister's stuff. Like at like 6 years old, I would steal like a t-shirt of hers, or like a pair of shorts, and then by like 13 or 14, I was sneaking in to like try on her mascara and stuff. And I always would be like, why do I keep doing this? What is wrong with me? Until later on, I found out it's actually, gender dysphoria is a condition. And it's treatable, thank God. And so yeah, that's hopefully what we get across in this show is dealing with gender dysphoria, and how successful transitioning can actually be, mentally, physically. I mean, just all around, just giving you a better quality of life.
Yeah, most definitely. And yeah, it was growing up, it was a lot like that. Like every time I would like do it, every time I wanted to, I had this, I couldn't explain it. I didn't know why I wanted to do all that stuff. Like I don't know why I wanted to look like a girl and dress like a girl, but like I did. Like I didn't know why, but I grew up with I really struggled with shame. Like I was always ashamed of myself, and I always felt like I was doing something wrong. Yeah, like and I would be mad at myself, and I spent years, I mean most of my life, trying to fight it and suppress it, and telling myself that like what I was doing was wrong, and that like I'm not, I'd always say, oh, I'm not gay and stuff, and like I'm not, and it's just like it was this endless cycle of like, and once I got
trying
older,
to fight it.
And once I got older, like trying to and I got access to like be able to get my own clothes, like I would go through these cycles where I'd build up all this stuff,
and then you'd purge it and you'd throw it away.
You'd throw it away, and then you're like so sad and depressed, like you're like, oh, I don't need this shit, like I'm a man, I'm and then you toss it all away, and then you're just like so sad and heartbroken, and then it was like an endless cycle. I think I purged like and did that like probably like 8 times throughout my life.
That's I've read that's very natural. I did the same thing. I think the very first person I came out to was I was in a relationship with a girl for 4 years, and she dressed me up. I was 17 at the time when we met, and she dressed me up for fun one night. We were having drinks. She put me in a dress. She put makeup on me, and I started crying. And
Aw.
she said, "What?" She said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Well, I have to tell you, I've been dealing with gender dysphoria my entire life, and I've always wanted to be a girl." And that really shook our relationship. But she was kind of into it, and but then she held it against me, and it turned into a big abusive, like mentally abusive type
I'm
thing.
sorry.
It's okay. It's years and years behind me, and she's since even recently, congratulated me on how beautiful I've become. She said she felt bad that she held me back, and all this stuff, and she's just really, really happy for me, and I still love her to this day. She's a great girl.
That's really good. It's really I'm very fortunate in the sense that my brothers and my family are all supportive, and it was
amazing.
tough growing up with my brothers, but they, once I came out, and they weren't doing anything wrong. Like they had no clue. Like I hid it from everybody, so like they weren't. I don't really hold it against them and stuff, but once I did come out, like they're very supportive now, and I have a very good relationship with all three of them, and yeah, so I'm fortunate that I have family on my side, because I know a lot of trans people don't have that, and that's something that I can't really sympathize with, and I just I feel bad.
Almost everybody in my family is. My mom is kind of not so much, but then again, she's a Trump supporter, so you can kind of understand where that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody else in my family is pretty awesome and supportive, so that's good. But me and my mom kind of clash quite a bit. But it's I understand. It's
moms are moms.
Transition is not only hard on you; it can be hard on family and friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just got into it. I was out in Denver for Christmas over the holidays, and me and my mom it seems like every time I go back to visit home, like we always kind of, get into like a little discussion about this stuff. And yeah, I know it's been hard for her, and I think it's been the hardest for her.
Yeah, because they're always gonna see you, I think, as the way that you were born, and everything like that and stuff. So but some girls, I get really jealous, because I see their mom like out, pictures of them, they're shopping with their mom, and they're getting their nails done together and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have a relationship like that. But it's maybe one day, right? So when did you decide that, like, okay, I'm gonna make a change, like it's time for me, and maybe what brought you to that hardcore decision of saying, to hell with everything, it's time to take care of myself?
Yeah. So like I said, I didn't start transition. I didn't get on hormones until I was 30. I was 30 when I got on them.
You are beautiful, by the way. Like,
thank you.
Natural hair and everything, isn't it?
Yeah, I've never dyed it or anything. I grew it out.
Gorgeous.
And I just, thank you. You're really pretty too. And your FFS came out really good.
Thank you so much. I'm still real puffy, like, and swollen, but it's healing really well, and I'm really glad that if anybody's interested in FFS, I went to Dr. Toby Meyer in Beverly Hills. He was amazing. I love that guy.
Nice.
But thank you.
Yeah, you
so
look
much.
really good. It looks great. I'm super happy for you.
Thank you.
I was really happy for you for getting that. But yeah, so the time when I finally decided like this was it was like I said, I fought this. I tried fighting this for years and years, and I always thought that there was something wrong with me, and that I couldn't explain why I wanted to wear women's clothes and look like a woman, and it was all, and I was in the closet forever, and I was just so like I couldn't accept it, and I hated myself. And my 20s were kind of a mess. I was drinking a lot, and I was getting into a lot of trouble. I was kind of yeah, cheers. I'm still drinking,
but not like we were, because I know that you saw that post about myself where I was I was throwing down handles of whiskey every night. It just and
Yeah,
smoking like crazy. I hated my life. I really
yeah.
did. But
That was kind of how I was. I was just like kind of just self-destructive, and I was kind of just using that to like escape a lot of my problems, and I didn't want to face it, and I was afraid to. Like I wanted to, I wanted to explore it more, but I think when I was 24 I got into a relationship with a girl,
mhm.
and that was my first girlfriend, and I lost my virginity to this girl, and so that was like the first like relationship I ever had, and we actually dated for 3 years, and I remember when we first started seeing each other, um I was like, well, I worked at this furniture store with these guys, and they were just awful. I mean, they weren't awful. Some of them were cool. It's just they would always pick on me because I was like a virgin. They were like always teasing me because I was like a nerd. I was a
Oh, you
nerd.
poor thing.
Yeah, I was like into anime and shit, and like they were always teasing me and just they were really hard on me. And so once I started seeing this girl, and
Oh,
I was like,
they had
okay,
to
yeah,
give you shit. Yeah.
yeah, and I was like, look, guys, I was like, check out I was like, see, I got a girlfriend, like, and I was trying to I was kind of like, confused about my sexuality and stuff, and I was
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
kind of, at first I was kind of like, I was really like, oh, guys, look, I got laid, like, I'm, see, I'm not gay, like, because when I first got hired there, I had long hair, this long hair, and they were always teasing me and about that too, and I actually cut my hair because they were teasing me about it so
Oh,
much,
that
and I was like,
sucks.
yeah, and so I hated
Yeah.
it, and then I started growing out a beard, but this girl I dated, she was really cool. She was a really good girl, and we had a
Mhm.
good time together. We moved to Hawaii together. We lived in Hawaii.
No way.
Yeah,
Where at in Hawaii?
we lived on Maui for a year.
No
It was
kidding.
Yeah, it was a good year. It was a lot of fun. We had a blast out there.
I
I
bet.
worked at Home Depot and she worked at Whole Foods, and we had this little shack of
Wow. Yeah, who cares?
it was cool, but I remember when I first got with her, when I first started seeing her, I had like just like the biggest collection of like clothes, of like women's clothes and like makeup and stuff that I had like ever had, and then
Yeah.
I purged it all, and
You
I
had
was
to
like,
get
I
rid of it.
I was
Yeah.
like, she can't know about this, like she can't find out, and I was so terrified of her knowing, and
Yeah.
once we lived together, like it was kind of there was some times where I was at home and like, I'd wear some of her clothes and stuff when she was at work and stuff like that, and when I was with her, I just like, I feel really bad for her because we did have a really good relationship and she really loved me, and one day I just dumped her because the whole time I was with her,
Oh.
I couldn't get over this. I'd lay there in bed at night up, can't not able to sleep because I'd be imagining my life like as a woman, and like, I was sitting there and I was just like, man, I remember like when I used to dress up and like I was so close to like coming out, and like I wonder if I'll ever know what that's like, and like I don't know if I'll be able to like ever be happy, like really truly happy, like,
Yeah.
hiding this, and like there's obviously something there that, you know I there's something more to it, and I want to like, discover more about it or learn more about it, and just so I broke up with her, and that was really hard on me, and then right after I broke up with her, I started going hard. I was like, okay, I got like all these clothes, and I was like, same thing.
Yeah.
But then I met another girl. I met this other girl, and I
No.
started her, and same thing. I got rid of everything again. I was like, oh, she can't know, and I was still battling those insecurities. I think I was like
Mhm.
20, or I think I was like 26 or something, and so I got rid of everything again. I was with her for a year, and I never wanted to be with her, but I was trying to, I don't know what I was doing. I was a mess. I was really confused, and
Hmm.
so I broke up with her finally after being with her for a year. That was a little too long to be with her, but I broke up with her, and then that was, then I started, dressing up again and stuff. But I was still in the closet for like 3 years after that, and I was trying to it was hard. I was working construction, and like I wanted
Yeah.
to be open and stuff, but I was like, I don't know how I'm going
How do
to.
you start? How do I go about starting my
Yeah,
transition? So
and
so
I was
what led to that point? Like it and so
yeah. So
when you finally said, okay, I've got to live.
yeah.
I've got to live as a woman, or I'm gonna go crazy.
Yeah. So I was trying to come out of the closet, and I was getting there. I was starting to be more open. My
Mm-hmm.
friends knew about it. I was going out in public more, dressed up and presenting as female.
Mm-hmm.
And then
How did
I
that
was seeing
feel?
it. Oh, I loved it. It was
Yeah.
there was this bar that I used to hang out at in Denver. It was called Akihabara, and it's like an
Oh,
arcade bar.
cool. Oh, that
It's they
sounds so
had
cool.
Yeah, they have all these imported like Japanese games, and that was like a big place for like fighting games. We played Street Fighter down there,
Oh
Tekken, they
my
had
god.
tournaments. It was just a big nerd hangout, and that was like I was
Yeah.
going there like when I first started going out in public. I was going there like dressed up with like one of my friends, and just everybody there was so like open and welcoming. Nobody ever gave me a hard time. Like those people were like my family, like it was
Oh,
awesome. And
that's
I really
that's
liked going there and stuff. But the more I just started like being open about it, the better. I was like, man, I feel really happy. Like, this is what I want. And I was also seeing a counselor at a time. I saw this counselor for like 3 years straight, and we used to talk about my cross dressing and stuff, and I'd bring it up, and then
mm,
I'd go through phases where I'd say, oh, I'm not. Oh yeah, I stopped cross dressing. I got rid of everything. And she was kind of like, finally she was like, it sounds like you've really been like fighting this and trying to resist this your whole life, but like, what if you
absolutely.
ever tried to like embrace it, like fully embrace it? And I said, yeah, I'm just scared to and stuff. And so she said, well, next session, why don't you come presenting as female? So
Oh my
I went.
god.
Yeah, that was the first time I actually left my house, and I was like 20. I think I was like 27. That was the
Yeah.
first I actually went out of the house like dressed up and presenting as female, and I went in, and she was like, and I couldn't stop like smiling the whole time, and she was like, so how
Oh,
do you?
I love
She's like, well, how do
that.
you feel? And I was like, I feel happy, and she was like, oh, you look really cute and stuff, and I was like, oh,
Oh,
yeah, it was like, and I started crying and stuff, and I was just like, I like this, I want this and stuff. So she kind of helped me get out there and stuff. But I think when I finally decided to get on hormones was I was still in the closet. I didn't present at home. I
yeah.
was only in my bedroom when I was like dressing up and stuff. But when I would go out places, I'd put all my clothes and my makeup in a backpack, and then I'd drive down to like an empty parking lot somewhere, and then that's where I would
Get
change.
dressed. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hated it. It sucked. Like it made me really sad because I was just like, this is like, I don't want to do this and stuff. And I wanted to transition, but I was so afraid of like what my family would think and my coworkers. And
Absolutely.
I was kind of battling this thing of like, well, can I live like just the way I am now and just
In
have
the
it be like
shadows.
in the
Yeah.
shadows? Yeah, and I didn't, and I remember looking at like pictures online and stuff, and of like trans women and stuff, and I was like, I'd see how beautiful they were, and I was just like, I was like,
Wishing
that's what
you
I
could be
want.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, it was kind of just like, I said, I'm just gonna go see a doctor and get some information, because I really was very not informed about the whole, about everything. Like I didn't really do like a whole lot of research, and I
Yeah.
was kind of clueless as to like the whole process. So I said, what, fuck it. I remember I actually found this place, and I scheduled this appointment because it was like a hormone place,
Yeah.
and I went there, and it wasn't like it wasn't like I walked in, and it was like a God, what the fuck was it? It was like some kind of medical place for women for like that have like hormone imbalances or something. And I walked in, and there,
Oh.
it wasn't like a like the hormones like that we do. It was like something else. I can't remember what it was. And I remember I saw the doctor, and she was like, so why are you here? And I was like, it was for like women that have like fuck, I don't know, I don't remember what it was. And I was like, well, I was like, I want to try to get on hormones. And she was like, oh yeah, this isn't like what you're thinking it is. And so I was like, oh, I was like, well, do you like know where I could go? Like, where do I go to like figure this out? And so she actually looked somebody up and gave me somebody that was covered under
Oh,
my
that's great.
insurance. And I scheduled an appointment with them, and then I went and saw them. And it was actually like a really simple process. I went in and I said, yeah, I want to get on hormones. And I did like a kind of like I had to do like a little survey or whatever and fill out some
Mhm.
questions. And then she was like, okay, well, why don't you come see me like in 2 weeks? And I went back in 2 weeks, and I had a prescription for estradiol and spironolactone. And I was like, and so I just started doing it. And then I was like, here we go, like this is it, like, and I was still the first year that I was on hormones, I was in the closet. I didn't tell anybody for like the first 6 months
Yeah.
that I was going through the transition. But I remember just like the first, like when it was happening, when I started noticing my body change, you know how it goes, like the first thing that happens is you start to develop breasts and like your nipples start to grow. And but you know, I was seeing that and I was like, oh my god, like this is like, I was so happy, I was like euphoric, like I loved it, yeah. And then it just, from there I just kind of evolved. And yeah,
It's really amazing what hormone treatment can do, and I think it's really affirming when you start taking hormones and you start to see the changes happening, you know, as far as like softer skin and your breasts developing, and just everything starts to become more feminine with you. And I think it like, you know, at that point you, or at least I did, I was like, okay, this is, I'm loving what's happening, so obviously
yeah,
I'm doing something right.
yeah, it makes you happy. Like I was just like, I remember just watching well, and at first too, you know, I was kind of, my first year was really rough. My first year was hard because you know, I was 30 and I was like, you know, I'm too old, like I'm not gonna be as beautiful as like some of the younger trans women, you know, because I was like, you know, I'm too old and whatever. And I didn't really see much change. I just saw my breasts growing, you know. And other than that, I didn't really see much change in my body. And it wasn't until like just, you know, after like 2 years, I was like, and it's hard to notice the change, you know. It's a slow process.
It is very, you have to be very patient.
Yeah, and especially for people our age. I think people our age, you know, that transition, it's just like, I have a lot of trans friends that are like, you know, they just got on hormones and they're like, you know, oh, like my body's not changing and stuff. I'm like, it will, like, trust me.
You got it?
It
yeah,
does.
you gotta be patient.
Yeah, you do have to be patient. But I mean, I was just looking at pictures of myself like from 3 years ago when I first started compared to now, and it's just like, I can't believe like how.
Isn't it incredible?
Yeah, I love it. And yeah, I feel beautiful now.
Oh, you are. Yeah.
Feel see, like I get a lot of attention from guys. Like I don't know. I like it. I'm happy.
Now, so how did you come up with the name Zelia?
So I used to draw like my own like basically like anime characters, but they were always robots. I was like obsessed with robots and like Gundams and shit like that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and so
I'm sure you've seen the huge one in Japan that they just built, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that thing's amazing.
It is.
I love Neon Jin people.
Yeah, I have a bunch of Gundam kits. Like I like to build Gundams and stuff. But yeah, I was like obsessed with robots. And my screen name, I actually go by Zbot for like gaming. Like when my screen Zbot. I don't know. I'm obsessed with the letter Z. But I used to draw all these little characters, these robots and stuff, but their names always started with Z. It was they always had to have Z in their name. Like it was always started with Z. And this character I made, his name was Zbot, and he was just like this badass robot and stuff. And then one day I gave him a basically like a girlfriend, and her name was Zelia, and I had that character like in my head for like for ages. And so then when I decided to come out, I was trying to pick a name, and I was originally gonna go with Erica, but I don't know.
I'm glad you went with Zelia. Nothing against Erica's, but yeah. Zelia fits. It really does. It fits you really well.
Like, I know a lot of people are always like, I have a lot of friends, especially like construction workers, that are always like, God, why do you fucking trans women always pick the weirdest fucking names? And I'm like, and that was kind of like why I picked Zelia. I was like, you know what? Like, if I'm gonna pick a name, like,
have it be fun. Yeah,
I want it to be, like, unique, and nothing against like people that pick like, you know, whatever name.
Brianna.
Like, yeah, I mean, no, Brianna's a beautiful name. Like, your name's your name. I just, you know, I wanted to. I just liked Zelia, and I love the letter Z. Like, my snake's name is Zuby.
It's Zuby. That's so cute. I had a cis girl go, why didn't you pick like Mercedes, or like, you know, like it was like she was naming off stripper names. I was like, stripper names? Because I just want a regular damn name. Which I've transitioned twice. And
really?
Yeah, it's a long story on why I detransitioned, and it was hell.
I can imagine.
But I went by Jessica for a long time, and like 20 of my friends, whenever I very first transitioned back in like 2008, I think it was, yeah. so they all, like 20 of us, went out to dinner and they brought it up. They were like, let's vote on her new name. And they came up with Jessica. And I was drunk and I was like, you know what? I'll roll with it. And they all started calling me Jessica at work. So I went with it. And this second time that I transitioned, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna go with Jessica because there's already 2 other Jessicas in my family, and I'm not gonna be like Mark's Jessica, Matthew's Jessica, or the tranny. I didn't want that. So, so I had been using this name in a board game, Brianna, and it really resonated with me, and so I was like, yeah. I'm gonna pick my own name this time. Thank you. So
yeah, right on.
But that is really cool.
I'm happy with my name. I love it. Zelia.
It's super cute. I love it. So current love life and relationships.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Here we go. Gosh. So I just got out of a relationship and it was.
I'm single, by the way. No,
I am too. I'm very single. Move to Salt Lake. Let's go out. Let's go on a date.
Hey, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
So yeah, it was crazy. So this was definitely, and it was kind of hard for me to get used to at first, but I mean, I was not prepared for the amount of attention I started getting from guys after transitioning. I was telling myself, I was like, oh, no guy's ever gonna like think I'm hot. Like when I first started transitioning, I did not look good. I had like short hair. I had razor stubble. Like I had this 5 o'clock shadow. I was terrible at makeup. My clothing was awful. I think
to the girls that are to the new girls out there, it takes time, ladies. So just keep working at it, and it'll eventually it comes out in the wash. Yeah,
you figure it out. Like
yes.
we definitely figure it out, and yeah, I think pretty much all trans women go through that. We go through that early phase.
The ugly duckling stage, the caterpillar stage. I've heard it called a lot of different things.
I look at old pictures and I just cringe.
Like,
what was I thinking? What was I doing?
Right.
People were allowing me to leave the house like this.
I know, and yeah, you want to be like, what? Somebody.
Yeah. But yeah, so then once I started to kind of like develop more of like my style and figure out like what kind of style I liked and everything, I started to get a lot of attention from guys, and that honestly helped me really build my confidence. Like I'm very confident now, and like I really like the way I look, and I really like my style and my fashion sense. Like I'm like a little obsessed
I love your
with
skirts.
myself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The only time you ever see me wear pants is at work, because I have to. If I could wear a skirt to work, I'd wear a skirt.
Hell yeah, I love
Probably
it.
would be good at construction. But yeah, so so yeah, I never had like a boyfriend. But there was a guy I was seeing just this last year. He was a friend of mine, and we were friends for a while. We were hanging out, and he ended up one night he just like made a move on me, and I was like, whoa. And I went with it, and I really liked it, and I kind of fell in love with him. And it was hard because he wasn't staying here in Salt Lake. He was from Colorado. They were temporary because we were working together. We worked together at the airport, and I was good friends with like a lot of those people from Denver. But after the job was over, like we knew that he was going to be leaving, and I really liked him, and he was from the start, that the day that I met him, like I really liked him because he was. I mean, I didn't have like feelings for him. He was just really respectful to me. He always called me by my pronouns.
It goes such a long way.
It does. It does. It seriously does. Like people that like are good about pronouns, and he never like once like misgendered me. He never, and he never. The other thing I really liked about him is he never asked me any questions. He never, we were hanging out.
Treated you like a regular girl.
He treated me like a person. Yeah, exactly. and he was just like, I loved that about him. But then like that night when he made a move on me, I was like, oh hell yeah,
Let's go.
like,
Yeah.
and so, we ended up being together for like a while, and we were
Mhm.
kind of official. But it was hard. I know it was really hard for him because I know that I felt really bad because a lot of the guys that started to, catch on, like we were kind of like a secret, like we didn't want people to like really know. But that was hard. I wanted people to know. Like, I mean, I didn't want
Yeah.
to go shout it out to the world, but I was like,
Sure, you want
we
that
st-
validation that hey, this is a genuine relationship.
yeah, like, hey, I got a boyfriend. Like, look
Yeah.
at me, I got a
That's
man.
important that's important to trans girls is like to have a guy that's strong enough and bold enough to
Yeah.
or a girl to
uh,
if whatever relationship you're in for your partner to be 100% okay with
yeah.
not trying to hide you.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
yeah.
And it was kind of like that for a little bit, especially with our friends. Once our friends that we worked with and the people that we hang out with started figuring it out, it was still like, I was being hidden, and that was hard for me because I was like, I lived my whole life in the closet, and now I'm finally out. Like, I don't want to go back in, and
Absolutely.
I don't want to hide this and stuff. And like, I'm happy with him, and like, I'm proud of that he's my boyfriend and stuff. And so it was a kind of complex relationship, and it was kind of serious, and it kind of wasn't. We knew that I wanted to stay in Salt Lake. I wasn't planning on moving back to Denver, and he wanted to go back to Denver, which we knew that when we first started dating. And he was kind of afraid to get close to me because he saw how affectionate I was getting. Like, he was like basically like, this fucking bitch is falling in love with me. And he was like, I'm afraid to get close to you because I don't want you to be hurt when I leave. Like, I don't want to live in Salt Lake. And I was like, I don't want to live in
Yeah.
Denver. And so we kind of knew that and stuff. And
Yeah.
but I wasn't really prepared for when he did leave. When he did leave, I was really the last, like, I don't know. He left in like October or September, and since then, like, it's actually been really hard for me. I've been really sad some
Oh.
nights. Like, I really liked him. Like, he was awesome. Like,
Oh.
he was really nice. We had a good time together, and like, he was just always such a sweetheart to me and stuff. And so after we split up, like, we still talk. Like, we still hang out. I saw him when I went back to Denver and hung out. But after he left, I started I kind of started not making the best decisions. And I mean, I don't know, I started hooking up with a lot of guys, and I haven't been
Hey,
all that safe.
you gotta make up for lost time, okay?
That's true.
That's
That's true. I mean, it's so hard for me when a guy like gives me affection. I'm just like, I'm such a sucker, and I'm just like, I'm like, oh my god, like, oh, thank you. Like, he'll give me like one little compliment, and I'm just like,
you're
oh,
like,
thank
oh,
yeah,
hi.
guys, play with my hair. Like, I'm like, oh, thank you, like, so much.
Yes.
And it's hard. It's really hard to like, for me to like resist that, because I like that attention. But I think right now, I was doing that, and I was kind of messing around, and I haven't been being all that safe. So I
Mhm.
decided that going into the new year, like, I'm gonna try to make some changes, and I'm just gonna,
That's
I,
good.
I'm looking for something more serious now. I want
Yeah.
something more serious. I'm at the point in my life, I'm 34. I want like a meaningful, I'm ready
Somebody
to,
that's gonna stick around. Yeah.
yeah, I'm ready to settle down with somebody. I'm kind of, I had my fun, and I'm
Same.
ready for that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I'm really struggling right now finding a guy that's willing to be open. I keep meeting these guys that they just
Want
want
to
to hook
experiment? Yeah, they
hook
think
up, they
it's
want to
sexy to
experiment.
be with a trans girl, and
Yeah, but then when it comes down to like, wanting to, be open about it with, it sucks, and it really hurts. That really hurts me when a guy is trying to. I went out with this guy in the town I was working in down in St. George, Utah,
Mhm.
this job site I'm working at right now. And I stayed in a hotel down there, and I met a guy, and I went on a date with him, and it was fucking awful. And he was just like so afraid of like his coworkers finding out that he was like,
oh god,
and I was just like,
yeah,
yeah, that really hurts us. Like,
yeah,
it sucks. I decided now, like, I'm not gonna be somebody's fucking secret. Like, I'm
right.
done with that shit. Like, if the next guy or girl that I see, like, I date guys and girls, like,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter to me. But
Yeah, I consider myself.
um,
I tell people I'm an equal opportunity employer.
that's exactly how I am. Like it don't matter to me as long as the
Right.
person nice. But yeah, the next person that I see, I want them to be. If they're not willing to be open about our relationship, then the deal's off.
Yeah.
I'm
So
messing around with these guys that just want to keep it a secret and just I don't know. That's no fun. It just
guys and
it
girls, if you're out there and you want to date a trans girl, yeah, just make sure that you're respectful, that you're okay being open, and
yeah, and
it's
it's like what bugs me about it is I'm sitting here thinking like why are these guys all so ashamed of like people knowing like I think I'm fucking pretty like I think
yeah. Well, and I had a guy
I,
messaging me that we used to work together pre-transition and everything, and he was
I
like,
got
asking me, "Oh, does it make me gay that I think you're beautiful and all this stuff?" And he's just coming. He's like, I'm not trying to be rude, but I've never talk to a girl like you, and I have a lot of questions myself, and I'm like, I understand that, but he mentioned that he would be afraid of everybody finding out, and I said, listen, this is how it would go, okay? I said your friends are gonna give you shit for like
yeah.
2 minutes, but then they're gonna turn around the next day and they're gonna say, you know what, Bob, or whatever your name is, they're gonna say, I'm actually proud of you and I think your girlfriend's cool.
Yeah.
After meeting her, I think she's pretty. I
Oh
think
yeah.
she's intelligent. I think she's, hell, I'd fuck her. I mean, that's probably the conversation
Yeah.
they'd have.
That's
You
like
know?
that's kind of how it was with the guy I was dating. He was really afraid of like people find out, and yeah, once people did start to find out, I mean, yeah, they were always giving him shit. Like, I mean, guys just that's how guys, especially in the industry I work in. We work in
Oh
construction,
yeah,
so
you deal with it.
they're always teasing each other. They're always
Now,
ratting at
what
each
is
other.
what is
They
that
make fun
like?
of me.
I'd love to hear about working
Oh
in your
God,
field of work.
I am just the center of jokes. Like,
Oh
they all joke.
no,
They all
does that ever get hurtful though, or does it?
Um, not really. I mean, I have pretty thick skin. You kind of have to in that industry. Like, you
Mhm.
can't, you just can't be sensitive in there. But for the most part, no. Like, I'm just as bad. I'm probably one of the worst ones out there, honestly.
I love it.
I'm
I
always
love
teasing
it.
with these guys and messing with them, and but it's fun, like the people I work with, they're honestly really good guys, and you know, they they're supportive of me, and I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends in the company I work with, and we like to fuck with each other. We like to joke with each other. I tease them all the time. Like, I make them, I make people feel uncomfortable that I work with just by like joking and stuff. But
That's
you know,
good though, and it's good that you've got a lot of people on your side and stuff. Especially, I guess, like
yeah,
if a new hire comes in and they find out, and then
yeah,
they start giving you a hard time or something
yeah.
like
That's
that.
usually
Yeah.
that's usually, and that I get that a lot every time we have new guys come in. They look at me and they. I think, and then I always have one of my friends that works with. They always come by and they say, "Oh yeah, the new guy was asking about you." They were saying, "Oh, what's up with," and they have my back. And then I think that a
Yeah.
lot of the newer guys, they see the way that I get treated and that I'm respected, and then I think once people, I'm kind of a people person. I enjoy being around people. I like
Yeah.
talk to people, and I'm very outgoing, and I'm very nice to people. Like, I just, even,
Hmm.
some of these guys I work with, like, some of them are very intimidating, and I think to myself, I'm like, oh, this guy's probably a bigot, like he probably hates me. But then once you get to talk to him, like, I'm like, oh, he's actually really nice. And then
And
I end up
that's
like
what
good
I'm
friends.
hoping for with this show, is to give some transparency, no pun intended, to our community, to people that may not know any transgender people or have met them or listened to them or talked to them. They stereotype us and think that we're all some kind of, no offense to drag queens, but like these glamorous uh, types. No, we're just
Right.
regular girls. Most of us. I hate now. I'm gonna stereotype us. Most of us are in anime, video games. We're nerdy. We're super intelligent. We're
Yeah,
funny. We're bold.
that's what I always
We're
that's what I always
creative.
tell the boys. I'm like, hey, I'm like, you know, you should date me because I'll sit there and play video games. That I
We're,
won't bitch
we're
at you
like
for
your
playing
best
video
friend
games.
with a pair of tits. I mean,
Yeah,
what else
exactly.
could you want? We don't get periods and we can't get pregnant. Come, what?
Yeah, come on.
Where's? I don't see where the problem is here.
Exactly. Um, but no, it's it was definitely as far as like coming out at work was one of the scariest things, like and hardest things, because you know, in
Absolutely, I
construction.
bet.
Yeah, and I've worked for this company. I transitioned in this company. Like I worked for them for
So brave
about
of you. That
I
is
worked
so
for them
brave
for
of you.
yeah, like for about 4 or 5 years. I think 4 years as, you know, as a man. Excuse
Hmm.
me. Uh,
You're good.
as I
Hey, I'm
burp.
I'm drinking beer too, so it's happening to
Yeah.
me.
So yeah, and I was like really scared and stuff, and I was like, these people are never gonna accept me, and I worked with these guys for years, and they knew me really well. They knew everything about me. They knew my personality, and then, but you know, once I started to actually come out, like, yeah, like a lot of the guys would kind of tease me and joke and stuff, but
Mhm.
they were, you know, they didn't really seem to mind, like they didn't care, like and I was really surprised by that, and I was really shocked, and I think that you know, as far as like the way that people see trans people, I
Mhm.
think that I don't know, it's goes the same way with us. Like, you know, I think that sometimes as trans people, we don't give a lot of people the chance, you know, and you know, a lot of people are actually, you know, not that bad.
Surprisingly supportive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Like, and you know, I've worked with these guys that are, you know, Trump supporters. A lot of
hmm,
them are,
absolutely.
more right wing, more conservative. And
Hmm.
I would always think to myself like, oh, there was a lot of guys that I worked with that I was super scared about, like knowing, like I was like, man, if they, you know, I don't want to even like associate this person. I don't even want to talk to them. But then when I came out, like they're just like they don't care at all. They're just like,
Yeah,
you know, and I think that sometimes not just trans people, but everybody in general, I think is just too quick to judge. Like it's just, you know, I think you got to kind of give people a chance sometimes, you know, and yeah, and then if somebody's a dick to you, then fuck them,
then
obviously.
fuck
Like,
them.
you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're gonna be closed minded, and that's
yeah,
fine. I had a guy that we were friends way back in the day. 20 years ago, 22 years ago, and he added me on Facebook a couple years ago, and realized that I had transitioned and everything like that. Well, um, just a few weeks ago, he messaged me and he said, "Hey, random message, but I just want to let you know that when I started following your transition, I actually hated people like yourself, and I hated the LGBT community, and I despised gay people. But I've seen how happier you are, and how much better care of yourself that you take, and all these positive changes." And he said it's changed my entire life and my entire outlook on how I look at the LGBT
yeah,
community, and I now accept everyone. And I want you to know you've made a huge impact on my life, even just through vicariously watching what you've done. He said, I completely accept everyone now, and I just want to thank you for that. And it blew me away. It made me cry. I was
yeah.
just like, oh my
Uh-huh.
god, like,
Yeah,
um,
it's crazy, you know, like I've had a lot of guys tell me that too. Like one of my best friends that I met through work, he's just like, you know, he's like this big like he used to be like a gangbanger from LA, and he's like this big like hardcore like Mexican dude, and like, you know, and
yeah.
just like he's like my best friend, and he told me, he was like, you know, he was like he was like, I used to fucking hate gay people
Hmm.
and all this stuff, and he was like, but me and him started work together, and we really just like got along, and like, you know, I never like you know, thought I was gonna be around people like that, and you know, I just I think a lot of it has to do with the way that you treat other people and the way you present
Absolutely.
yourself, and
Exposure.
you know,
Once they meet us and once they see us, once they hear
yeah,
us,
it's
and they go, oh, because people are scared of stuff they don't understand or things that they
yeah,
don't know about. And that's why I wanted to do this show, is so people that are out there, not only the people that are transitioning or thinking about transitioning, any of that kind of stuff, but people that don't know trans people, and once they realize that, hey, oh my god, they're actually really fun,
yeah, they're
awesome,
actually cool.
good-hearted people.
Yeah, yeah. I had this
um
guy that I was working with, and one of my friends told me that And he was like a real hard ass. Like he was just like he was really quiet. He didn't talk a lot. He was just like I don't know. He was kind of like he was just like you're kind of stereotypical like conservative guy, you know. And I remember one of my friends told me, he was like, yeah, he was asked about you, and he said he was like he goes yeah, that tranny she's actually pretty cool. she's like she's like one of the guys, but she's like hot. And he's like a really nice guy. He's fucking hilarious. Funny. Yeah, we joke all the time. But
I love when people kind of break over, you know, from being like discriminative and everything, and then they finally start accepting you because they've met you now, and they're like, you know, then they squash it and they're like, you know what, sorry I was a dickhead. You're actually really a really fun person and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and that being said, that kind of rolls right into my next thing I was gonna say is like things that you wish would change in society as far as like maybe you know, stereotyping and stuff like that. Is there stuff that you run into that like that you really hate that society may apply to people that are transgender?
Yeah, I think one thing that kind of bothers me a little bit sometimes is like I meet a lot of people that when I initially meet them and like I'm around them sometimes I feel like they have to walk on like eggshells around me. Like they think that like, you know, they're almost like too supportive to a point where it's like, you know, where they think that I'm like this like, fragile, delicate, yes. Like thing that's just gonna like break. And you know, and I don't like that. I feel like there's a lot of people that think that we're like, you know, or at least for me, think that I'm like gonna be this overly sensitive person. I'm gonna get offended by everything. I always get guys that say like, oh, I hope you don't get offended, but and I'm like, dude, like you're not gonna offend me. Like
there was this meme that I saw, and it was like this girl, this trans girl, and she goes, it shows a little bubble of her imagination. She goes, what I thought my transition would be like, and it's a little princess. And then it says what my transition is actually like, and she's wearing a Portal t-shirt, you know, the video game Portal.
Yeah.
And she's like pointing, she goes, I bet I can eat all 6 of those tacos. You know, so it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know. I don't want people to like think that. Like, you know, of course I want people to be respectful. Like, you know, I do have some people that, you know, one thing I do struggle with a lot, especially in my industry of work, is misgendering. Like people still call me he a lot at work because, you know, I don't
really.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, all the time. I get it all the time, and I think a lot of it is my voice is terrible. I don't like my voice, but yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of guys that like, I don't know, they're, you know, especially in my industry, I could tell that like they're like, they'll call me she around me when it's just like me and them, but then when there's like other people around, like they'll start calling me he, and I think it's because they're like, you know, and I get that a lot.
Afraid to like
I don't know,
to accept
like,
you.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird. I don't get that, like, you know. And the guys that like, there's guys that just like call me she and stuff. Like I had this one guy and he was working with me. We had all these guys. He became like one of my best friends. He was fucking awesome. He was this really wild guy from LA, and he was just, me and him were having a fucking blast together.
Yeah.
We go skateboarding
I
around.
love LA. I just obviously just came back from there in Beverly Hills and all that. And oh my God, it was my first time in California. I love California. I will be back to see you guys, but
I've never been. But yeah, this guy, we had all these other guys from LA come in, and they were all asking about him. He goes, oh yeah. He comes and he tells me, he goes, hey, all the guys from fucking LA were asking about you the other day, and they were saying, so like that safety chick, is that like a guy? Like, and he was kind of like, he was like, yeah, and he was like, you know, he was like, well, she's transgender, and they were like, well, so like so she's like a dude, and he was like, you know, he's like, you just, yeah, and he told him, he was like, you know, you just don't call her that. You don't call her he and him. Like,
that's disrespectful.
Yeah.
And I think guys do that in their own alpha male dominant type way. They don't want other men to know. The same thing as like
Yeah,
maybe being shy
that's
about
what
dating a
it is.
trans girl, is they're so worried about their own masculinity being
Yeah,
affected as far as like,
by calling a trans woman
oh,
she and
yeah,
her.
yeah, they're like, oh, you're calling that guy a girl, blah
Yeah,
blah, you know,
yeah,
like just being
yeah,
stupid.
exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
you're a fucking bag. Like
Right, right.
just
You,
stuff
oh,
like
you probably
that.
want to fuck her. You know, the whole locker room talk shit is
Yeah.
so,
Oh,
so stupid.
I'm
So,
surrounded by it. You have no idea. I'm around it all
uh,
day, every day. But you
girl,
know,
you
it's.
are so tough for dealing with that.
But yeah, I think as far as like society stuff goes, I would, you know, I don't know. That's hard. I don't want to like say like trans people are overly sensitive and but I think sometimes we gotta toughen up a little bit and not be so offended by every little thing. But
Sure.
at the same
Yeah.
time, I think that
We gotta be respected. We deserve to be
we just
respected.
yeah we deserve to be respected, and people should treat us the way that like I feel like people even though like I'm probably not like the most feminine like trans girl, like I'm kind of like a
You're
tomboy.
super cute. Yeah, but to
I
each
just,
their own though. Whether you're Miss beauty queen, or whether you still, who knows, love to chew tobacco and and
yeah,
whatever, is
yeah,
just be yourself. But I think no matter who you are, despite whether you're LGBT or whatever, you deserve, if you're a good person, you deserve to be respected. But
yeah,
trans people in general, like, we deserve it, it's just common courtesy just to
yeah,
treat us with some decent respect, because we have to go through so much as far as
right,
like mentally and everything to reach this point in our journey. And for people just to blatantly just shun us, or to be disrespectful to us and everything, walk a mile in our heels. It's
yeah.
a fucking tough road.
Yeah,
And
it is really hard. It's being trans is like dude, like trans women and trans men are like some of like we're tough. Like, it's
mhm.
I'm
We've
not.
had to come to so much,
Yeah,
deal with
and
so
it's
much
hard.
in
We
our
have to deal
lives.
with a
Yeah.
lot. But and I can understand why, there's a lot of people that do support us that are kind of like overly like protective of us and stuff,
They
which,
get it.
I do
Yeah.
I do appreciate that and stuff, but sometimes it's like, okay, you don't have to walk on eggshells around me. I'm still a normal person. Like, you can still, we can make jokes, or,
Yeah.
sometimes that makes me feel a little bit more normal and stuff. But
Ugh.
I don't like when people feel like they're just like any little tiny thing they say is gonna like hurt my feelings, because it probably won't. Like,
Yeah.
I'll probably just laugh about it and joke back.
So
So
so with all this being said, what and we're getting close to actually closing here.
yeah,
What
yeah, I'm
advice?
having fun.
I am too, definitely, and
I'm really enjoying
I
this.
would love to have you back on
Oh,
anytime.
I will gladly come back. I'm really
Excellent.
bad at like explaining things too, so I apologize to
No, you've
that
no,
I'm the
you've
first guest, because I'm really not good at
no,
like
yeah, you're my
saying
first
what I'm
guest too. We
saying.
need to celebrate that. We're
I'm not
celebrating.
the
This is the very
brightest.
first day of 2021. Let's all hope that it's a shit ton better than
It's gonna
this.
be better.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a lot better.
the train.
We're
Yeah,
starting out
yeah,
the
yeah.
years off right.
Let's
We're
yeah.
cheers
Cheers
to
it
that.
to a new year.
Mhm. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a good year.
Uh, so what advice would you give to somebody that is afraid of transitioning?
Gosh, I always try to tell people that, fuck, I don't know. It's like, I think a lot of times, and I think this isn't just with trans people, I think it's with most people, is a lot of times as human beings, I feel like we tend to worry about a lot of things.
The
And a lot
purging
of
of clothes,
yeah,
the
and
dealing
just
with
like
all that.
a lot of the things that we worry about, once you actually face it, you
Mhm.
realize, oh, I was worrying about that for nothing. It's actually not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Kind of like lying, like telling a stupid little lie. Like, you think you tell the lie because you think it's gonna be, because you're afraid to like get in trouble or something. But then you realize that if you tell the truth, you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. Like, and I try to tell that to like trans people that
Mhm.
that want to come out, that I think that you'd be surprised and you'd be shocked at how supportive a lot of
Mhm.
people actually are. And it's like, I definitely experienced that, especially in construction. Like, I was sitting there thinking like nobody's gonna support me. All these people are just gonna be, they're gonna cut me out. They're gonna make fun of me. They're not gonna like me. But it wasn't. I came out and I honestly have not had like really too many issues like in the workplace as far as like being trans. Like
That's awesome.
I'm respected. I'm supported, and my company really cares about me. They I remember after I came out, like I'm very non-confrontational, so I have a very hard time like saying when I'm, if somebody's like misgendering me, like I usually don't call them out. I usually don't say like, oh, I'm really bad.
Oh, you should. You should.
I
You
know,
should be
I
like,
do.
oh, it's actually she and her. Thank
I
you.
know. I'm really bad at it. I'm always afraid that they're like, I just want everybody to like me and stuff. But
Yeah.
I remember when I was first coming out, like a lot of people were like, they saw it and everything, and people were still calling me by my dead name, and people were still calling me he and stuff. But then it was like all of a sudden, like one day, my foreman who I was working with, he came to me. We have a schedule and stuff, and it has everybody's names and it shows where he comes to me and he goes, hey, did you change your name? And I said, no, like legally. And he goes, I said, no, I haven't changed it yet. He goes, oh, well, your name is Zelia on the schedule. And when I was doing the
Good. Yeah.
when I was doing the time cards, he was like, your name came up as Zelia. So, and then all of a sudden after that, like all these people like in the company, all these, the superintendents and the foremen and stuff, they all started calling me Zelia, and they started calling me she and her. And I never went to anybody and said, I never went to my boss and said, hey boss, like, it kind of just happened. It kind of just happened on its own. And I think
that's so good, because I think a lot of companies are actually starting to come around to dealing with trans employees and stuff like that, and which they should. And so if you're out there, and working and you're afraid of transitioning on your job, feel free, speak with your HR department, speak with your managers, speak with everybody. If you're ready to transition, and obviously reach out to your local LGBT community centers. You can reach out to me personally. I'm going to give you guys my email for information and stuff like that. Reach out to therapists, doctors. There's a lot of people in the community that are ready to start learning about the transgender community and to accept us and help us and stuff like that. And the whole misgendering thing with your situation, like I swear, especially now, if you were to switch companies, no one would ever probably know, and they would never misgender you because they would just know you as Zelia. So I think that
I get that a lot.
I just wanted to bring that up as when you do transition, in a group of people that have known you previously, as in your coworkers or family or friends and stuff like that, people that have really known you before, they have to transition with you. So and sometimes it takes people longer than others.
Yeah, and that's really hard to deal with. And honestly, for me, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to move to Salt Lake. Like I had to get out of Denver because I lived there my whole life. I knew too many people. So, and I was very fortunate because my company paid me money to move out here. So, I got a kind of plus there. And so, and I do make really good money, and I know that that's, kind of a hard option for a lot of trans people. But I always recommend, if you've lived somewhere for like a really long time and a lot of people, and you're, it's really easy, and I mean, I wouldn't say easy, it's really liberating to move somewhere where you don't know anybody and just start off fresh, and then people meet you as the person that you are. That's the only person they know, and I have people that know me as like that knew me way before, and it is a lot harder for them to like come around to it because they knew me as Dustin for so long. They knew me as like it's hard, but that was kind of what I did. Right when I got to Salt Lake, like and that was my first year when I transitioned. I was in Denver and I was still closeted, and I remember when I moved to Salt Lake, I said, what, this is it. Like I'm done. I'm going out hard. I'm doing this. Like I'm
so happy for you.
The first thing I did when I got to Salt Lake was I moved into my apartment. I got everything set up, and then the first thing I did, I got rid of all my guy clothes.
Good for you.
I said, you know what? I said, I said, I'm just not going to wear this stuff. Like, I'm not going to be in the closet. I got rid of all of it, and I was really scared. I was like, oh, fuck. This is it.
This is it.
Down to, I down to a thrift store, one of the donation places. And yeah, and I was like, now I was like, oh fuck, I gotta go to the grocery store. Like, oh well, I have to wear this shirt because that's all I have.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and I like to tell trans people like that are having a hard time coming out. Like I think one of a really important thing for me that really helped me too is support from community. And I think, if you can get involved in the trans community, make trans friends.
Absolutely.
Most trans people are going to be willing to be your friend.
Sure.
I meet trans people all the time, and most trans people that I meet.
You went to help one of your friends right before our call. We were going to do this call earlier, and you reached out to a friend to help them, and they were really depressed and upset, and I love that kind of stuff. And that's the reason why I'm doing this channel is to help reach out to not only trans people, but to help other people get to know us and stuff like that.
Right.
But that being said, unfortunately we are out of time, and it's went by so fast. I've had so much fun talking to you.
I did.
We finally get to speak in person. So I'm not sponsored by Redbubble or anything, but I do like Redbubble. It's got some really cool stuff on there.
Oh my god! And I got so many stickers from there for my toolbox.
Well, you're in luck, young lady, because I saw a shit ton of Sailor Moon shirts on there for like $20. So I'm gonna send you like I'm gonna
tattoo.
I love it. I'm gonna Venmo you $25 or however you want to receive it. And get yourself a Sailor Moon shirt off of Redbubble.
Okay. I will.
And so thank everybody for. I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We really hope that you enjoyed the program. The biggest compliments that we can get from you is to like, share, follow this channel, get it out there to other people. If you'd be interested in being on the show, or you would just like to say hi or have any suggestions for future content. You can reach out to me at Brianna Long, BriannaLong.info, info@gmail.com. Or you can follow my public Facebook page. It's just Brianna Longaberger. Thanks again for tuning in. And remember, regardless of who you are, you deserve to be respected. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.